This is Stuart. You can say hi.
Hi.
Stuart and I know each other through a mutual friend of ours. We met about
Year and a half ago?
I was going to say year and a half, but I
Yeah.
think 2 years is pushing it.
Pushing it, yeah, about a year and a half maybe.
Okay. And we met at an event. It was for...
All I can think of is the Blaze, and I know it's not the Blaze.
No, it's not.
But they do their advertising levels based on different peppers and different spice levels, which is why I'm thinking that, because like literally if you want to sponsor, you can like bid for the habanero level, and it's like $4,000 or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's literally labeled that way. The 5-minute speakers per... It's 5 minutes,
Ignite
conference.
Minneapolis. Ignite.
The Blaze.
Okay, we figured it out. Left or right?
Currently right.
It's because you were a cast on your...
Yeah, actually I am right-handed, so yes.
Okay. Car or bus?
Car.
Breaking news or next day headlines?
Next day headlines.
Text or call?
Text.
Minneapolis or St. Paul?
Neither. Denver.
Oh!
I prefer Minneapolis.
Okay. Book or Kindle?
Kindle. That's not a yes or no answer. It's not it's like depending on what you're reading. If I'm reading a big book, I want it to be on book. If I'm reading just to read, I want it on Kindle because I can read.
Okay. Okay.
It's the best answer.
One podcast you really like?
Currently?
Yes.
Damn.
Or maybe you don't listen to podcasts right now.
I listen to too many podcasts. The
okay.
Nerdist podcast.
The what?
Nerdist.
The Nerdist.
By Chris Hardwick.
Okay. What's it about?
He's a comedian. He interviews a bunch of celebrities, comedians, business people, everybody.
Okay.
Beyond that, Tim Ferriss or whoever else I'm interested in at the time.
Okay. I have to ask this one. West or East Coast?
West.
Okay. Favorite color?
Green and gold.
No! Is it for the reasons I'm thinking of?
Go Saints.
Oh, not the reason I'm thinking of. Last commercial you saw that you were beyond annoyed with?
Beyond annoyed with. The Air Force Insurance Company commercials.
Okay.
Whatever that company is called. Because they're targeting me. I am not qualified despite the fact that my brother's in the Air Force. So they think I am, but I'm not. So in my mind, it's a bad targeting of the advertisement and it's starting to piss me off. And I've told them, I've even tweeted at them directly, I am not qualified for this, don't target me for this. And they're like, well, we're sorry, our social media team will get in touch with our paid media team. Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. What's one thing about your habits you wish you could change?
I wish I could go to bed earlier and wake up earlier.
Okay. Favorite holiday?
Halloween.
Specifically when it comes to driving, passive or aggressive?
Aggressively passive. Ask me if I'm an optimist or a pessimist.
What's your current favorite song on the radio?
I'll just say probably any of the new U2 songs from the current album.
What are you really bad at? Some people are like, oh, I'm really bad at math, or I'm really bad at keeping cash on me when I'm going out and I know that I want to leave a cash tip instead of put it on a credit card.
I could go with math. I'm pretty terrible at math.
Biggest pet peeve?
People who put the toilet paper roll under as opposed to over.
I'm going to jump into the questions. Time to grill you with the good stuff.
Okay.
I'm being sarcastic. You're not. Sorry. Okay. What is one part of the digital marketing business that you think is too complicated that needs more structure?
The pay-per-click industry, search engine marketing in general, it's very powerful, can do a lot of things out there, but there's many different kind of tactics to make things work, and a lot of it you have to really know what you're doing and basically have like a math degree to really excel in. It's very low cost of entry, but to really master it, you need to know your stuff, you need to have a lot of education. Okay. And I would try to fix that, come up with some way to make things easier, so the barrier to entry is a lot lower.
Okay. For the past 6 years, if not longer, I've seen rip to email, rip to direct mail, rip to SEO. If you're consistent with the content that you're putting out, then why is that conversation still happening?
Well, the misnomer would be that any of those things have actually ripped. They've changed, they've morphed over the years. What worked tactic-wise 6-7 years ago does not work today. However, the same general principles have always applied since the internet started back in the 90s or wherever you want to say it started. Creating content and continually creating content and having it be directed at the right audience, the right niche, will always disrupt everything else because it is something that you're building. It is something that's long-term, something that has a chance to really bring people on board, and it's no different than like, some author having a back catalog or an artist having, tons of past albums. Mm-hmm. Everything that new comes out will always be different than the old things, and if they start just kind of either redoing what they did or even just slightly remixing it, then the engagement will drop off, the audience will start to drop off, but anybody who takes risks and stays within their kind of lane and channels will win in the long run.
Makes sense. With voice, do you think companies need to stop being afraid of that channel and do more research on it being a viable option for their clients' products?
I would say voice is still a very kind of young channel. However, it becomes more and more important depending on what type of industry you're in, whether it's a service industry or whether it's very tangible, smaller products. The majority of companies out there probably do not need to be dedicating a lot of time to research into voice, beyond knowing that your content should already be voice activated or voice ready, in the sense of Google is blind, most search engines are completely blind. Everything should be kind of written in such a way that if somebody were to ask a voice question, it would connect them to it naturally. Not, this is a channel, this is a tactic, we need to change everything to make it more voice ready. It should already be there. So a good example would be if a local business, like let's just say a pizzeria, and somebody's on Amazon Alexa or somebody's on Siri, hey, where's the nearest pizza joint? Mm-hmm. That should be something that's already in their content on their page saying, this pizza joint is located in the Seward network or the Longfellow neighborhood or things like that. That's different than like some company going out there and saying, oh, we need to make certain everything is voice activated, voice kind of ready in search. You can do it naturally and you can do it in a way that makes most sense to those customers who are using voice. But voice overall is still so young that it's very much a novelty.
Who are people that have, in the last, I would say, 5 years, and I use that time frame because I think influencing comes not in waves but in long forms. So who have been your influencers?
One of the biggest ones has been Ramit Sethi. I think I recommended a couple books and articles from him. He and his books and his entire business, I Will Teach You to Be Rich and Growth Lab, that really kind of awoken the entrepreneurial mindset inside me, as well as helping me, do my finances better, actually create patterns, actually create triggers for when money comes in, it goes to these places, I pay myself this amount and stuff like that. He has been instrumental to me. I've had a chance to talk to him just by email and Twitter a few different times. I've loved every second of it and would love to join his more expensive courses. He has a high requirement, though, that you have to have 0 credit card debt before you can actually join his $2,000 courses and things like that. Would love to do it, but as he's told me a couple times in email, pay your damn credit card debt first. And those words.
Okay.
It's my angry Indian uncle that I love. I also have been influenced a lot by Tim Ferriss, also by my mentor / friend Dave Delanave. He doesn't live locally anymore, but hoping I get to meet up with him soon. Anybody who can really challenge me and make me think and help me realize that I don't belong in any one channel. I'm not supposed to master a tool. I'm supposed to be everything and grow my own thing.
Any others?
Tons of others.
Okay.
But that's in bottom.
Which leads me into my next question.
Mm-hmm.
You've mentioned YouTube probably 2, if not 3 times now, and
Sorry.
It's okay. I know you're a big fan of theirs,
mm-hmm.
and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. If you could redo a campaign of theirs from a product launch standpoint, which product of theirs would you love to get your hands on?
1997's Pop and Pop Mart Tour. It was one of the weirdest product launches ever, and it finally found its footing, but they screwed the whole thing up.
Okay, what did they do?
Mistake number 1, they booked a tour before they had finished the album. And then they had to redo the album basically really quickly and get it out the doors in time for sales before they even had a chance to really rehearse for the tour. So the first show of the tour broadcast nationally live. They had barely rehearsed and had to stop and start several songs because they f***ed it up. Excuse me. They launched the album and announced the album in a Kmart because the whole album was kind of centered around the idea of pop culture is disposable, but there's some good found in the trash. And it was a really good album, they really had a lot of ideas on there. Okay. It was just not mixed well, not finished, and the band has barely played it since. Okay. So it's one of those things, like the band has talked off and on about how like they want to go back and revisit it and like re-edit it and things, but they never, they just screwed it up. It's a...
Why would they choose, I'm serious, why would they choose a Kmart?
It had reasons. Because postmodern consumer pop trash. And the album is called Pop, and the tour was called Pop Mart, and at the time was one of the largest stadium tours of all time and had the largest video screen of all time. And they couldn't sell out stadiums.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't know why I think that's so funny.
It's hilarious, but it also screwed them up so bad that they seriously had some problems. And that was before they came out with the song Beautiful Day and like try to do like a back to their roots kind of thing. Okay. They were trying to take this like 90s dance experimental thing as far as they could go. And I thought they went pretty well and succeeded well, but then just didn't have the sales and screwed everything up.
Oh my gosh.
And in the 30 seconds of the 2011 show where they played here at TCF Bank Stadium, they snippeted one of their songs from that album. Just like at the end of it, while they're playing, they're just like, the Bono was just like, I'm just going to sing the first verse and go into the chorus at the end of another song. And I lost my mind because it was everything I ever wanted to hear, because I'll never get a chance to hear those songs in a live context because they basically almost ignored its existence since.
Okay.
And it's one of those, they feel the sting to this day still. And it's
Really?
something that I wish they would like go back and revisit,
Okay.
at least for the fans. Every once in a while, they'll pull one song out and do like a one-off acoustic or something like that.
From that specific
Yep.
album? Okay.
But it was not commercially successful. It found its footing. It probably cost them a lot of money and definitely market share, just especially in America. And it's like, they screwed it up.
Okay.
And it's fantastic. That's the problem.
Okay. Their best screw-up ever?
Pretty
Maybe?
much, yeah.
Okay.
Although there was that, the other biggest screw up, and this is the weird thing. Again, too much history here.
Okay.
1986.
This is what happens when you're a fan of
Yes,
a band.
I know a lot about the band.
Yes.
1986, the Live Aid concert. That was the one where they're like all the groups got together in England and they did this giant, all day long super concert to raise money for Africa. U2 was kind of up and coming at that point. They had not really hit it big yet. Some big players knew them. They had a 3-song set. They played the first song. The second song ended up being one of their longest performances ever because Bono, near the end of the song, decided, screw it, I'm going to make a connection to the actual audience in Wembley Stadium, went out into the crowd, found a young woman, brought her back on stage, and slow danced with her while the rest of the band kept on playing. They were supposed to play their biggest hits, Bruce Sales, sell a new tour, that kind of thing. He instead, no, I'm going to do what I do at my regular shows, bring somebody forward and like make a connection. Apparently that was such a most powerful moment on television that everybody instantly knew who U2 was, and it was like they became that super group basically right then and there, right before the Joshua Tree came out. But at the same time, Bono thought he screwed everything over and didn't talk to the band for several days because he thought he was going to be fired. And it turns out it was the moment of the whole weekend that everybody talked about where he thought he screwed it up. And that was like one of those big moments of like, wow, a tangible connection to a person in a crowd can make such a huge difference, even if you think your bandmates are going to fire you.
Piggybacking off number 6 with the product piece of it, what is one product or brand that you think is currently knocking it out of the ballpark?
Anchor. Anker. I think every product they create is phenomenal. They have a very they're basically the cheap Apple. And that's not a good way of putting it because cheap means bad quality. Everything they make is incredibly good quality. They're affordable, and I think their packaging design is second to none. Like everything that they've done is great. They're always on sale, they're always available, and they find those niches of technology that you didn't know you needed until you bought them. Whether it's, the waterproof Bluetooth speaker for your phone or anything, some cable or something.
So what is their product focus?
They make electronics.
Okay.
So personal consumer electronics, and just knock it out in terms of what they make, as well as just the packaging and marketing and advertising design.
And all e-commerce based?
I believe, I've never actually seen them in a retail store, so I've only ordered them on Amazon.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Where are they based out of?
Don't know.
Okay. Interesting.
Would love to know. Haven't looked into it much.
Okay. Is there a happy medium between cubicle space and office, an open culture space within offices? Do you think that there is?
I am actually one of those rare millennials who hates open offices. You can't concentrate, you can't focus, you certainly can't have a phone call. And yet a lot of people are telling us that that is what millennials like. And I find them abhorrent. I would almost always rather have a cubicle because then I have a degree of privacy and focus available to me. At the same time, I like having open office space areas for collaboration and meetings, but not for actual work.
Next question I'm asking because you've been to conferences and you've been to workshops. And if you could build a 3-day workshop, what would the main focus be and who would the speakers be? And I ask this because of the entrepreneurial mindset that you have, because I know that you have a lot of knowledge to offer, and I know that would be a product that I personally believe you would be successful in executing if you were offered the opportunity.
Possibly a small business digital marketing 101 to like 401. So a 3-day weekend where each day builds upon what it's taught. It's not just kind of different topics that are out there that anybody can go up to and like pick and choose what workshops you're going to. I want somebody to like, on day 1, you need these things and here's the things you need. 2, here's how you start executing those things. And then day 3, here's where you measure your results and take it to the next level. A lot of conferences will pick one of those 3 kind of verticals, but rarely is there one that actually shepherds everybody through it and does it from the mindset of, this is valuable for people who also have to do it, aka the lower paid people. This is valuable from like the executive level, C-suite level, where like, this is how it influences your organization. And then this is how you kind of do it all yourself. Here's how, this is how you start a business, this is how you market your business, this is how you get it out there. I think that could be incredibly valuable for a lot of people, and especially if they give you cold, tangible ways of doing things. Not just theories, not just here's why you need to do it, and not just here's a fun case study of how we did something cool.
I would agree. Who would the speakers be? But I probably already know the answer to that question, but I'm still curious.
Anybody I can think of who's an expert in things. Our friend Nate Knox would be a good one. I would, there's a couple other directors and people and agencies in town I would bring in, a couple national people. I'd bring my buddy Jeff Sawyer in, myself, whoever else, because you would need people who know different silos, different verticals. We also need those entrepreneur types. Like I would try to bring in a Ramit Sethi or a Tim Ferriss or somebody like that.
Okay, I was waiting for you to say Ferriss. Okay. What's one thing you worked on in 2017 that you are more than ready to continue evolving and executing in 2018, which has been here now for 15 days?
I would really like to work a lot more on my freelance and kind of consulting work. I've gotten the opportunity to coach different people who are starting their own businesses, but sadly it's been mostly kind of pro bono. And in 2018, I will get paid for what I do. So I want to work on that. I got involved in a veterans military supplements and fitness company recently. Last 6 months, something like that, and have kind of helped them do some content marketing and seen them kind of grow a little bit. I'm kind of excited to see what I can do to really help them take it to the next level, kind of fill in gaps and where they're kind of missing things. And just in general, like with my digital strategy work, I've had the opportunity to basically set the direction for several international multi-million-dollar companies in terms of what they're doing for digital marketing. And I love storyboarding out like their entire marketing plan and content strategy for the entire year. I want to do more of that, set everybody up for more work, more success, and do that for several companies and see them grow. But I need buy-in now.
All right.